Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to Stormworks. I know it's been a while, but it's a new year. Hopefully, we are going to get back into normal uploads, the classic whack Al statement. But we're here, got a new boat in the background. I am kind of showing it off. Definitely not even close to finish, so it's going to look like that, but not like that. Anyways, we're going to get right into the building with this one, guys. We're starting a brand new build series. This one's going to be a diving support ship. So exactly what it sounds like. It's going to be for diving support. More specifically, it's going to be a Arctic-centered vessel. So it's going to be for cold waters, but it's going to be for underwater construction, saturation diving. There's going to be a lot of kind of technical jargon in this one. It's not all going to necessarily translate into Stormworks, but I like plumbing. I like HVAC. You guys know what I'm going to be doing here. But I know you guys will probably notice half of the boat is already built. I had a hull that I liked the size of already, but I just didn't like the rear. So I cut it in half and now we are kind of finishing up the rear. So I'm sorry about that. You guys did miss the front, but it's not really a very complicated front. It's all 2x4s and 4x4s, and it's actually almost all consistency. Consistent. There is a slight 2x4 notch in the middle of the hull to kind of play with the shape a little bit, but other than that, it's a very simple shape. There are all of the polygons lined up and everything. But anyways, I wanted to change the rear of that hull because that boat was set up for fluid jets, and this one is going to have azimuth thrusters. So we're going to do 2 Azzy pods on this, and the engine setup on this boat is going to be really weird. So kind of excited to show you guys that, but we're going to have 2 engines. They're going to be not the same size, and they're going to do 2 different things also. So kind of interesting. We'll get into that down the road. This episode is really just going to be us finishing out the hull. I'm going to take this one a little bit slower, and then in the later episodes, we'll be moving it a little bit faster up a pace. Either way, the rear of this ship needed to change because if we need to put azimuth thrusters back there, we're going to need a lot more clearance for the propellers to rotate around. So I needed to redo this. I'm not going to get too much into kind of the building right now. I mean, I've talked a lot about kind of how to build hulls before. If you guys don't know, the easiest advice I could give you is count everything in multiples of 2s and 4s. And since the blocks are in multiples of 2s and 4s, they should all line up. So you start to get in trouble once you start counting with odd numbers, especially with the larger slope blocks and whatnot. But anyways, I'm not going to get too much into that. This hull is really not going to be a super complicated shape, but this ship is going to have a lot of stuff going on. So we do need to make sure that it's nice and stable. It's got a lot of good flotation. This is going to be a support ship, so we are going to need to be able to put a good amount of weight on the rear of this thing as well, especially if it's going to be doing construction. You're going to want to put construction modules on it. It's going to have a big old crane. I'm sure you guys saw at the beginning of the video. Going to have a big old crane so you can lower things down into the water. And we'll actually have a really fun build challenge later on for this ship that I already decided. But essentially, I'm going to give you guys all universal door seals and locks and have you guys build like underwater base modules. And then we'll play with them and see about connecting them together and whatnot. But that's down the road. On the topic of build challenges, we do have a build challenge going on right now. I know I haven't been super active on the YouTube, guys, so if you aren't in my Discord, you probably didn't hear about it. Or, I mean, I did post a video, but we do have a dive bombing challenge going on. And I did announce the due date for that is going to be January 23rd. So you guys got about 20 days, give or take, to do that. It's a really simple challenge. All the rules are on the workshop description. There's a little box like I normally do with the outline. We are just dropping silly little dumb bombs, unguided, very simple. It's just a fun challenge to do in between us doing all the other stuff. So if you do want to participate in that, there is that going on in the Discord. There's a link down below to our Discord too, if you would like to check it out. We're not only using that for build challenges, but we do hang out in there quite often, and it's a good place to kind of ask questions and get help with your builds. So. And I know a lot of you are going to ask about the submarine. I still do have the submarine. Guys, I'm not a sub guy. I'm really having a hard time finding the heart, if you will, to finish that. So I'm taking a little bit of a break from it. It's not, I still have it. It's not done or anything like that. I still have all the footage and whatnot too. So I will likely come back to it. It just, I personally just don't really jive with subs, I guess. I just don't really care about them, I guess. I don't know. I'm not like fascinated by submarines. So it's really hard for me to spend hours and hours and hours working on something that I don't really care about. It is a cool build though, so I do want to finish it. I need a break, and I need to get away from that thing for a little bit of time. So I've been doing a lot of military stuff lately, and I want to get into something a little bit more commercial, industrial, that kind of thing. So every now and then, you guys will probably know if you've watched my channel for a while, I do mostly military stuff, but every now and then I do like to kind of do a lot more of a technical, industrial style build. So that's just to feed the plumbing itch, I guess. But anyways, it looks like this ship is coming to a nice rear here, and I'm just going to polish it up a little bit, but I am going to hit you guys with a time lapse. I know it's been over a year, but yeah, I'm going to hit you guys with a time lapse, and I will be back in just a few moments. All right, so we got a good chunk of the superstructure kind of polished up. You can see the overall shape we're going for here. I do think we're probably going to have to bring the front of the bow up even taller just to kind of make that arc nice, but I did add a little ramp back here, as you guys can see, and there's a ton of batteries down in the hull to level everything out. But yeah, this is kind of the general shape we're going for. Now, the ship is going to be very unsymmetrical at the end of the build, which I'm personally a fan of, but I know some of you are going to hate me for, but that's all right. Anyways, we're going to get right into that, and we're going to start working on that asymmetrical design right away. So it's going to be baked right into the hull. The front of the ship is going to be pretty much all symmetrical, but the rear of the ship is not going to be, and that ramp on the rear of the boat is actually not even going to be on center. So don't hate me for it. I am a sucker for asymmetric designs. I love them, and I think especially in like a commercial or basically anything that's not like leisure or comfort, I'm a big fan of asymmetric designs, especially from an interior standpoint. So in normal fashion, we will do a full interior on this ship. So I will be doing that. But obviously this is not a small boat, so we've got plenty of other things that need to get done first. But there is a good reason we are going for the asymmetric design, and we are just going to start working on that right now. So this thing is a construction boat, which means we are going to need a pretty good crane on it. And a pretty good crane should really be designed right into the ship's hull. So that's what I'm doing right now. This is a obviously not structural stuff doesn't really matter in Stormworks, but obviously this is a pretty structurally important part of the ship. So I want to get this in, and there's basically going to be the column for the crane, and it's just going to be a giant crane that goes over the entire kind of back working deck on this ship. And it's also, everything's going to have the huge winches too. So you should be able to bring anything down to any depth, basically. I think the large winches are good for 600 meters. So that with a few pulleys, and yeah, you should have no problem dropping anything onto the seafloor. But I also wanted I wanted this thing to have a really large crane so you can kind of put anything on it. So it is a pretty important part of the ship, and especially with the design, because when you get into making boats like this and the crane's that large, it does really affect the silhouette. This crane is going to be just as tall as like the mast in the superstructure. So it kind of does really affect how the boat looks too. So going off the asymmetric design, we're going to have to figure out a way to kind of balance the design. And you guys will see that the superstructure will be a little asymmetrical later. And we'll try to add some balance that way, as well as off-center, the hangar being off-center, the ramp being off-center and whatnot. But enough of that. I am yapping right now. I'm just kind of going on and on and on about basically, I want to have this crane in before I do the detailing, so I don't have to move the detailing, is basically in the simplest terms of why I'm doing it now. But yeah, and I'm not going to get too much into the whole saturation diving complexities and all of that. We will be talking about it in later episodes. Unfortunately, in Stormworks, you can't really actually saturate dive. You can't get people to the actual pressures that they would need to, and also gas mixing doesn't really matter. So again, I'm not going to get into all of this, but just know, like, I'm going to do an actual habitat. I'm going to do an actual diving bell, all of that kind of stuff. So it will function like an actual saturation diving ship, but you're not going to actually be able to like pressurize people to past 3 atmospheres. I think in Stormworks, I could be wrong, but just off the top of my head, I believe 5 atmospheres is enough to start killing you, unless you're in like a spacesuit. And I didn't want to do the spacesuit thing because that requires people to have a DLC, and that is the least common DLC for people to have as well. So we're just going to do normal diving suits, and the rest of it will function like you are saturation diving. You'll live in the habitat, all that kind of good stuff. But for our sake and Stormworks' sake, we'll only be keeping it to about 3 atmospheres. Anyways, in the background, I have been working on kind of shaping out a little hangar area in here, and it's not really going to be a hangar as much as just like a covered workspace. I don't even know if I'm going to put a door on it. Now, I will say Jack, my one of my mods, is going to be helping me on this ship, and I think he's going to make a few fun things for it that you could fit in here. But the point of that really is just extra space, storage space to get out of the weather. On top of that, I am just going to go play around with these kind of sliding rails so we can, play with the I guess, plan on the deck here. You can see that the wall on the right side of the hull is cut off, and that is because that's where all the diving stuff's going to go. So contrary to popular belief, I know it would make sense to put the habitat inside the hangar, but I'm not going to do that because I want it for storage. And so we're going to use part of the deck for the habitat. We're going to make it pretty small, and then the diving bell. So over here where these like sliding rails are, that's where all the habitat's going to go. Now, originally, the reason I'm doing all the sliding stuff right now is originally I wanted them to basically slide in and out of the hangar, but I don't want to. This thing's going to have a lot of ropes and a lot of physics bodies, and I don't want to make that worse. We already have a lot of things going against us for this ship, so I wanted to kind of try to stay clear of that. So it's a cool thought, but it's just ultimately not really worth it. So I'm not really going to do it. But that's kind of why we're playing around with all these sliding rails. Plus, they do look nice, and it is something that you will want on the deck anyways. So might as well get them in. And you can see that the hangar is not on center of the ship, going on back to the nothing is symmetrical conversation. The ramp is not centered on the hangar, and that kind of annoys me even more. So I'm going to basically move that ramp over, and the ramp will be asymmetrical as well. So I know that probably is going to bug quite a few people, but it's much better than having your cargo off-centered on the ramp when you need it, and or having to shuffle it around on the deck. So that is that. We kind of got it sectioned off, I guess. So those two little squares are where, you know, the diving bell and the habitat are going to go, and then the rest of the deck is going to be storage space for construction modules, equipment, that kind of thing. And we'll have some other goodies inside the hull too. But that is more or less the extent of the building that will get done today. Just kind of playing with shapes and polishing up some of the corners at this point, really. But yeah, it's kind of tricky. Again, going with the asymmetric design. I mean, you got to do things kind of twice, but I do think there's some charm to it. So I definitely want to keep with it. And you can see that this side of the hull is definitely going to be a lot different from the other side of the, well, this isn't really the hull, this is the superstructure. But yeah, anyways, that kind of looks like garbage. So let's get rid of that. Yeah, guys, if you do have any questions or any features you want to see on this boat, please let me know down below in the comments. Like I said, the submarine it has gone somewhere. It'll come back, hopefully, though. But if you guys do like this build series, definitely let me know. I know I'm really excited about it. I'm like I said earlier, I'm kind of excited to take a break from the military stuff for a little bit. So I'm really looking forward to this build. I think we're going to have a lot of fun with it, and I think that that underwater construction is something that, you know, not a lot of people really play around with in this game, but it's also not really there's not really too many great resources to do it with as far as from a diving perspective. So I am looking forward to that. But like I said, guys, that's pretty much all we got for this one. And if you stayed to the end, thank you so much. Really, really appreciate it. Really appreciate all the support from last year, guys. Absolutely killed it. Love you guys. And I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day.